An actor, an author, a filmmaker, someone who's always spoken about social issues. Her short films is on breaking stereotypes, gender stereotypes in fact. Today, she's authored a book, something very meaningful for young girls. A deep insight and understanding about growing up, the social, physical and emotional changes that girls go through while they're growing up. What's Up With Me, that's what the book is called. Hello and welcome on the NDTV Detol Banega Swasth India campaign. We have a very special guest with us, Tiska Chopra. Thank you so much, Tiska, for joining us.
Thank you, Ambika.
The book, What's Up With Me, it's a very unusual name. What really inspired you? Was it your daughter Tara and her friends?
Indeed, Tara is 8 and she's going on 18. So her questions are, I think the mental age of children has changed from what it was when we were 8. At 8, I didn't know anything, and my daughter seems to know everything. And she seems to have a sort of insight into things, into human beings.
Yeah,
we call them the crystal kids. They know everything, and they know when you're lying to them. And they will call you out on that. They say, no, that's
something you're hiding.
Yeah, that's not the truth. So I decided very early on to be very honest with her. And we call things in our house by their biological names. Breasts are breasts, vaginas are vaginas, everything is what it is. And there's no mysticism around it. And I think that builds for a very, makes the body a sort of a very simple thing. It's a functioning unit and you need to look after it and feed it and give it sleep and enjoy the benefits of good health. And so this book came from that. My editor, Vidhi Bhargava, who's known me, she was a little kid when I'm her buddy Didi. She's my brother's classmate from school. So she came up to me and she said, I have this idea about a mother writing a book for her daughter and telling her about growing up. And I said, initially I was like, I'm not sure if I'll have the time because writing a book is a long process. I've done it once before. So she said, think about it. And it was the lockdown. So I said, okay. But what really was at the heart of it for me was, we keep talking about there's a gender skew.
Yes.
That there isn't pay parity, girls are seen as inferior beings, there isn't equal opportunity. We keep talking about that. And we have marches and vigils, and every time there's something or the other that happens against crimes against women, there's these things that are spoken about and rage is vented on social media. But what are we doing about it?
What is the action being taken?
What is the action? And I've always believed that education is where it's at. So if a girl understands early on, and these are socio-cultural things that are put into your system. For example, in certain parts of India, still, women are not allowed into the kitchen when they're having their period. And I'm like...
it's still a taboo. Like, we still go to buy a packet of sanitary towels and it's wrapped in a newspaper. So it's not that something bad you're buying. Exactly. The way we look at it. In fact, I was reading in your book, there are countries which actually celebrate when a girl, it's like a ceremony, when a girl gets her first period. But in our country, it is a hush-hush thing. You're absolutely right on that.
So I did a very sly thing. I said yes on the surface of it for talking about the biology of it and the science of it. But inside my heart, I knew that I wanted to be able to literally enter the brain and the heart of young girls and tell them how spectacular and full of promise they are, and how strong they are, and how being a woman, the divine feminine, is so huge. And to make them understand that having your period, having breasts, pimples, acne, all of the changes that you're having is all leading up to a magnificent you.
It's normal, and you're still beautiful. I think that's what we keep needing to tell, right? I think that's what it's about.
Amongst the whole, of course, the notion of beauty, the notion of size, all of that is challenged severely in the book. So I think being beautiful is one part of it, but also more importantly, what I wanted to talk about was, I wanted to actually literally take steel and pour it into their spines and tell them, you are lesser than no one. And at some point, I wanted to say that here's the period pride badge. Wear it when you have your period, because you have your period, can humanity actually progress?
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have your period, there'd be no more human beings.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's a problem for the body if you don't have your period. And also very subtly I've sort of said, why don't you talk to your dad about, Dad, why don't you get me pads on the way back from office? So as to normalize the discussion.
The conversation, exactly.
In families.
In fact, you've spoken, Tiska, about puberty, body hair, pimples. In fact, very interesting. You've also spoken how to deal with it. And what I thought was really interesting is the illustrations. What was the thought behind those? Because it make you understand it very, very simply but beautifully.
That was actually Vidhi Bhargava, my editor, her idea. And she got this wonderful doodle artist called Akanksha Agnihotri, who's done these amazing doodles. And when my daughter first got a manuscript of the book and it had the illustrations, she finished it in 45 minutes, the book. And I was like, she sat for 45 minutes in one place, and I was like, she's definitely got her headphones on and she's watching something. And I went outside and I saw, and she was like, so I said, what do you think of the book? She said, it's very nice. So I said, and then there was something on her face, so I said, what? You know, we talk about boys. I said, I think so, I think so. So yeah, that's interesting.
And the other thing, how important, like we were talking about normalizing conversation. So how can we really initiate this? Many times happens as parents, we need to talk to our children about this, but it's very uncomfortable or we feel it's not the right time. But these are important things that we need to speak to our kids about.
I think you can't miss talking about this because it's going to hit your kid at some point, whether it's a boy or a girl. Puberty is going to happen and you want it to happen, right? Otherwise, you're going to have to take the child to the doctor and say that something's gone wrong, it's not happening. I'm hoping that the book is a good starting point where mothers and fathers can buy this book and sort of keep it around the house and sort of maybe read a chapter together. Friends can read the chapter together. Maybe schools initiate the book. I don't know, I just hope it becomes a conversation starter.
Conversation starter for sure, but also you've got these expert tips. What I really thought was nice was, in fact, this whole period, where we've started doing this at this age now because of the phone, the apps and things, where you actually, a girl can check, pinpoint that, okay, this is my period month. So it has expert talks, it has myths, it has, suggestions also, what are the right things to eat and all. So it's more of a guide, I think, for the girls.
It's a lot of homegrown wisdom. Plus, there's a lot of stuff which I think people fumble with. For example, buying your first bra. It can be a very big adventure. With your father or with your mother to go and buy your first bra. How do you measure? Whether you measure the waist or you measure around the cups. How do you get the right fit? So the world has changed to become very specific in certain ways, and you get things for every single specification. So there's pads for heavy flow, for light flow, there are eco-friendly pads, there's all sorts of things. So
huge basket of range for everything now. It's just about knowing it. I think the awareness is somewhere still lacking, but at least we're talking about it. In fact, when I was reading this book, Tiska, I really felt that it's a very well explained biology chapter, but what I loved about it was the emotional aspect, because that's really important. Even in schools and all, we talk about the physical aspect. We don't understand, or we don't try and tell a child that emotionally also, how the hormones will change. So you've really got that well as well.
Thank you so much. I tried really hard because I think the bodily changes are bodily changes, and that's going to happen. But how do you process that change internally? How do you deal with it? What you make of it? So a lot of kids at that age, because they're not sure, they'll start looking at people to the left or to the right, and somebody's got bigger breasts, somebody's got bigger hips, somebody's taller, somebody's shorter, somebody's got no problems with their skin. So you're going to start wondering, suddenly you have hair sprouting all over your body and you're wondering, what happened to me? Did I just turn into a bear or something? So, you need to give them a sense of what is the broad area to expect, and yet keep saying it's normal, it's okay. And there are solutions to everything.
Yeah, I think just talking to them and making them comfortable. In fact, menstruation, what we were talking about, it's still a taboo in our country. Tiska, how do you think we can really overcome that? Because at one time, we're talking about, okay, there's a basket of products, we can choose from. But unfortunately, in our country, still millions of women don't have access to hygiene products. How can we really get over this taboo?
I think education. I think this should start at school. It should be mandatory. As we were talking right now, that you have 2 sons yourself and that you want them to read this book, because boys should know about girls and girls should know about boys, and this whole gender divide should not be a divide. it should be a soft flow. I don't think there is a masculine and a feminine so strongly. It's much softer. Women need to be in touch with their masculine side, and men need to be in touch with their feminine side, and accept and embrace each other, and that line should be blurred somewhat. Roles shifting, like sharing of domestic chores. It's a whole other conversation.
In fact, what you were saying, I think, again, something which is really tackled well, what you said about kids, in school also they're taught about this, but it's again, boys are told separately. It's very important that girls and boys are compassionate and understand each other's growth process. I think that's something which, again, you've spoken about it. You have a full chapter on the boys so that girls understand. So I think that's, again, a great thought.
I hope it is, because they have a great deal of curiosity, and rather than misinformation, somebody telling them something, giving them all sorts of weird ideas about what happens, can be very misleading. So having the wrong kind of information can sort of set them off on the wrong path, and then unlearning is a huge challenge. So starting out, if they have their biology correct, their information correct, no one can give them crap.
Mm-hmm. So how has your daughter reacted to it? Is she excited? Obviously, she's what's really inspired you, an 8-year-old girl. How is she taken to it?
She's, this sounds like I'm a little egoistic, but everyone in the family is writing books. My dad's written a few. My husband's written a few.
So she thinks
I've
just
written,
that.
So she's like, yeah, you write another. And she's actually writing a book of her own.
Oh,
she's like, I want to have a book launch too.
It truly runs in the family.
So she's finished writing, I think, 4 stories. And she's planning to write another 4. And we want to help her publish the book. And they're very interesting stories, which she's thought up herself. She's, of course, a fiction writer.
Of course, 8 years,
and she's full drama.
So looking forward to that as well. So we're just going to take a short break. We have Tiska with us, and coming back is a lot more exciting conversation. Women and girls constitute nearly half of India's population. But when we look at the gender disparities, it's huge. It's critical when it comes to education, health, workplace, home, in fact, everywhere. To talk about this, we have 2 very special people joining us. We have Ravi Bhatnagar and Vitika Yadav. So Tiska, let's ask them few questions. Vitika, Tiska and I were talking about menstruation, that how it's still a taboo in our country. And this gender disparity, how can we bring about a change? The attitude, the angle, and the shift in the thought about menstruation.
Thank you for your question, Ambika. Gender disparity continues to be a persistent issue in India. When we talk about menstruation, there continues to be so much shame and stigma, and we really have to look at how shameful it is for women and girls and for young people to acknowledge the changes in their body, when they hit puberty. So no one has this conversation. We grow up thinking that it is shameful to have these body changes. We grow up feeling ashamed about puberty. We grow up feeling ashamed about menstruating, and there is so much period shame. There is so much stigma around menstruation that it becomes even more difficult for young women and young girls. Now, just thinking about the fact that young girls struggle to go to school just because they do not have access to menstrual hygiene products, or they do not have enough information how to manage their menstruation. And there is so much shame and stigma socially, culturally, and within the families that they feel completely lonely and isolated socially as well as in their own families. Now the choice is either miss school and stay at home. So obviously you cannot make it up academically, and we need not be hush-hush about it. Of course, the menstrual blood is not blue; it is red in color. We have to acknowledge it.
So Ravi, there is a need to initiate conversation when it comes to talking about something as basic as sexual reproductive health. Y'all are doing a program, the Birds and Bees program in the Northeast states. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We made sure this curriculum is age appropriate. There's a proper process of consent, and it is done in such a way which is non-threatening. It takes care of growing up of the child. It takes care of the basic questions like, which on which a lot of inquisitiveness is there, like how babies are born. It also touches on the, very interesting and important factors of growing up, like, menstruation, menstrual hygiene, about the pleasure, about equality, equity, familiarity with the topics like the LGBTQ plus I. Along with that, the topics like, the cyberbullying, bad and good touch. So it's a comprehensive age appropriate curriculum which we have created. We plan to reach around 2 million school kids across all the schools, private and public schools in the Northeast 7 states. There's a tremendous response from the governments. There's tremendous response from the teachers. And there is an all young brigade of, 7 team leaders who are all girls who are working with us on this project.
So Ravi, I had a question for you. Given that a lot of girls drop out of school at the onset of puberty, what is the work that's being done on menstrual hygiene?
Thank you, Tiska, for asking me this question. This is very, very relevant. And recently, 8th March just happened, which was the International Women's Day. Through our Detol Banega Swasth India program, we reach out to around 14 million school kids across India. One of the very important topics what we touch is the hygiene. And when we talk about hygiene, hygiene is just not limited to the hand hygiene. We talk about, with the girls and with the boys, we talk about the menstrual health. We talk about the menstrual hygiene. We talk about, the factors by which one can get, the urinary tract infections and the reproductive tract infections. So this is all a part of our curriculum which we have been teaching. So 2021, we have big aspirations to reach out to 20 million school kids in India by taking our Detol hygiene curriculum. This curriculum is also taught in the madrasas across India. Right now, 100,000 girls are getting benefit directly out of this particular work what we have been doing.
Vitika, how important is it to start young, to teach young girls about reproductive health? Because only a healthy girl can become a healthy woman. What do you think?
Thank you, Tiska, for this question. When we speak about young people, especially women and girls, it is so important to think about their right to take decisions based on information, based on quality information that they have had, because that can really have some life-changing impact on their decision making. Now imagine if an adolescent girl, avoids teenage pregnancy, does not get pregnant at a young age, is able to attend school. It can have significant impact on her future, on economic opportunities. Now in this context, I think the most important thing that I feel is, how do we make quality information and education available to young people, especially to women and girls? How do we make sure that there is comprehensive sexuality education that is accessible, that is provided in school, that they can also access out of school? How they're able to act on that information, and how do we connect that information to service delivery? That's also one of the things that we are trying to do under the Birds and Bees program, which has been rolled out in the Northeast, and it's a very ambitious program. We of course want the program to go pan-India and to be able to have information and quality information accessible to all young people, and especially women and girls, because we know when they have information, when they have access to information, when they are able to take control of their own bodies, they will be able to take informed decisions about their own bodies and about their own well-being.
Thanks, Ravi and Vitika, for joining us. Tiska, would you like to give a message to the young girls and their parents also who will be reading the book?
Ambika, it's the 21st century. Pertaining to things that are absolutely natural. Why should there be such a hue and cry about a woman's period? It happens every month. There are millions. Half of the human race has their period. Half of Earth has their period. What's the big deal? It's about time we brought it out into the open, discussed it, and let everyone, men and women, understand the importance, the biology of it, and then let it be.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like I mentioned at the start of the interview, that there is a great deal of pride, because women take that responsibility of birthing a child. And the start of birthing a child starts with your period.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have your period, you would not be able to have a child. Yeah. So I think that is a sense of deep power and pride that a woman or a young girl needs to have. And parents need to impart that to her and say, kid, you're on your way to becoming a woman. And I would go so far as to say that girls should be given a period pride badge so that they can wear it during their periods. And everyone looks at them and says, hey, we need to support this person because they're on their way to becoming a woman.
Yeah, woman. Yeah. And that's what the book says, what's up with me. I think that's what the girls are going to really be thinking about, that it's totally normal.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Disca, for joining us in this beautiful conversation.
Thank you so much, Ambika.